Just getting sick of the cold weather already.
It just got started.
I know, and I'm already sick of it.
you know, we talked about this the other day. It's like I'm a summer person, so anytime it drops below 80, you know, I consider it, deep winter. And so, there's many months of the year when I stop being able to wear shorts on the regular, I rebel.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of SEO Fight Club. And today we have a couple topics. We're going to first talk about our predictions for 2025 because we like to see how wrong we are at the end of the year. And then we're gonna go into how local lies. And so that's gonna be the plan there. Let me go ahead and say hello in chat and remind people to ask questions. And I'll remind people that we sometimes don't get to all of the questions. So if it's really important to you or something you'd like to have discussed, be sure to ask earlier rather than later. So keep that in mind. All right. And let me switch over to all messages. There we go. And all right. So predictions. And the goal here is to actually predict something that has some risk to it. Um, let's see. Uh, Holly is asking if anyone is on with me today. No special guests. You're always welcome to hop on, Holly. But we have Lee and Charles here, and uh, yeah. So no special guests today, though. Um, so the idea with the predictions is that they ought to have a little bit of risk to them. We're not going to predict that topical relevancy is going to still be important. Using your keyword is still important.
All right, you're
Putting the
killing my first.
keyword.
You killed my first two. All right, so what else?
So you have to actually predict something that's gonna change. There has to be some risk on it, and half the fun is when you're totally wrong and everybody points at you and gives you a Nelson Muntz aha. Um, Let me see here. One second, folks. Holly is asking for a link. And I am obliging.
There goes the neighborhood.
There we go. The more the merrier, right? All right. So I'll start off because I'm adding all these rules to the predictions. So I might as well go first and give an example of a prediction with a little bit of risk on it. So I think because AI is kind of making ranking easier, like I don't know how you guys feel, but in my opinion, AI has kind of made the task of ranking a page a lot simpler. And Because of that, I think the valuable part of SEO and the costly part of SEO are going to diverge. They're going to be two different things. So the thing you end up spending the most money dealing with and the thing you end up making the most money from are going to be two disparate parts of SEO. And what that ends up meaning is that the part that's costly historically has been ranking the page. And I think the part that's going to be costly now is going to be the technical SEO and the ongoing maintenance of competition. And so I think that the arms race is going to grow, and the problems that you're going to find are going to be that it's very time intensive to keep up with the arms race of everybody who's pulling the lever harder than you. And the technical SEO issues are really going to be the expensive thorn in your side that keep coming up. And because of that, any mistakes you make in technical SEO are going to feel that much more expensive. And sadly, the valuable part, the rankings, I think that value is going to diminish. Like it's going to be less peaky and it's going to be harder to make those numbers work. And so, not a great prediction, but that's my feeling is that technical SEO is going to have a sharp uptick this year. What do you think, Lee?
I like it, but I'm gonna go a little contrarian on a part of what you said. One of the things that we've talked about for years is, everybody's always looking for the easy button. And if you have the easy button and everybody has the easy button, then the value of the easy button goes to zero because we're all producing, the same articles, the same videos, the same, links, whatever it is that the easy button does for us. If everybody has it, it cancels each other out.
Well,
So
not necessarily, because there was a nuance to what I predicted, in that it was going to become an arms race where people were going to pull the lever more, and people were going to have to spend time competing. So you're right
well,
that if everybody has an easy button and everybody presses it once,
mhm.
that it neutralizes itself. But
But
now
see,
we're in a game where whoever presses it the most and the hardest wins, and you can change your game.
I hear what you're saying with respect, sir, because I love you, but you're wrong. So here's the so here's what I'm saying. It doesn't conflict with your technical. I think the technical is a brilliant piece of it, and it kind of dovetails into a piece of this. I think that you're going to see that content loses its effectiveness and people lose faith in content because we all have, these wonderful AI, these wonderful prompts, and you're pushing it, and there still can only be 10 things on page one or 100, in the SERPs, regardless of how many different AI articles are generated. So I think the game has to shift away from content. Now, I could certainly shift towards technical. That's a great way to go.
Well, here's a thought. Yeah, I think you're right, because I'm kind of already burned out on internet content. I just default assume it's all AI written, and I don't really care to read it to find out anymore. Like I'm just burned out from trying. Um, so does that mean that website owners should have talking head videos on their website to be the content that still has some integrity?
I think what it means to me, anyway, is that you're going to have to find a different way to compete. With that easy button being, it used to be, content was hard. Then content got to be really, really easy. And the question now is, if we have, Google has 10,000 Seattle plumber articles to choose from, how is it going to distinguish? Where does the game shift? Now, it could shift towards technical, it could shift towards links, it could shift towards, things that AI doesn't do well, in its iteration of content. But what I think it does for most SEOs is it takes that the push button doesn't work. You can't just you're going to have to do something else to be able to compete at the highest levels. And I think that is going to lead to a lot of frustration because right now everybody's so excited about all the cool things they're doing with AI, and they're wonderful. And there's a lot of cool things you can do. I think those things diminish, the value of those diminish this year.
And I agree with you at the highest levels, but my predictions was for the average masses.
Yeah.
See, Lee, I think I agree with you, Lee, that and Ted, your points that it's going to diminish, but I think this is the year that folks are going to start trying to use, and I'm going to say the quote unquote average SEO is going to start trying to use AI to do everything. I also think this is the year that users are going to notice that we're awash in AI garbage. Like everyone, to your point, like there's an easy button, and you can click the easy button, but it makes garbage. But everyone's just going to want to hit the easy button over and over again. And I'm guilty of it as well. I put out articles where I'm like, oh, this is just bad. I gotta fix this. And people are going to start complaining about all the AI garbage. Now, something I've noticed now, my kids, they're all teenagers. Um, Ted, I bet your kids probably say the same thing. They can spot AI like really, really quickly. They can say, oh, that's an AI voice. And there's times where I'm listening to them like, is that, are you sure? Like, oh yeah, it definitely is. Um, and so I think we're going to start seeing more and more people doing AI. They're going to start doing more in AI garbage. Um, Folks are going to start complaining more and more to Google. Google won't do anything this year about it. But just like we had people complaining to Google about, Forbes putting up, our affiliate sites, they complained about that for years. This is the year we're going to start hearing people start whining more and more about AI garbage in the results. Google's going to ignore it because they're going to try to figure out how to monetize their AI overviews that they're putting on the page because that's really their game. I don't think it's much of a prediction to say Google's going to try to take over more of the page. They already are. They've been doing that for a decade. Um, I think they're
Right.
just going to get a little bit better at monetizing it for the
You
AI part.
you mean you're not looking forward to the go high level cold caller?
No comment.
I think the going along with that, I agree with you, Charles, because one of the things that I talked about earlier this year was I was never afraid of AI content because of Google. I was afraid that as the masses got more educated on it, they'd start to read, they'd click on my site, they'd get there. This article delves into, oh shit, and then they just click away because they're like, this is AI crap. They're not even going to give it a chance. And so, I'm worried about, the consumers because largely last year when I would talk to people, even late this last year, I would talk to average everyday people about AI and they'd heard about it or this, or maybe a couple of them had played a little bit with Chat GPT or were using it at the office and kind of felt like they were cheating using the tool. Most were still not out there, but I think, as it gains more popularity, I think there is the potential for that, for that backlash. It feels like I just read this article 27 times.
So I'm going to suggest it's not because folks are going to read the same article. They're going to be mad they're getting outranked by something that they think is AI, whether it is or isn't. And you're going
Yeah.
to start having all of my enterprise brethren going on LinkedIn and Twitter and messaging John Mueller saying, "Hey, how come this ranks? This is clearly AI." And um, I don't think Google will do anything about it this year, but I think this is the year that mantra will begin to start. Um, People complaining about AI outranking them.
So let me go. I have one, and Ted, I apologize in advance, but I finally got to where you are, sir. I think it was, God, it's well over a year that you shifted away. At first you were asking Chat GPT everything instead of asking, Google or, any of the search engines. I find with, I had enough SEO friends push me to Perplexity that, months ago I started using that. And I'm like, this is a whole lot better than, going to Google, typing in a thing, opening up 15 tabs, trying to read across the articles. This is a whole lot better. Just give me a summary. And if I see something in the summary that I like, I can click on the reference link and go read the part that, is pertinent to me. I don't Google much unless I'm doing SEO research. So is this the year that we see Google lose market share in search because the search market declines.
Yeah, I think they've already seen a decline, and it might not be a big decline overall, but it's enough that it sets a direction, and the direction is bad.
Right. Yeah, I looked at some of the AI responses that they're putting up at the top now, kind of a response to Perplexity and some of these other, summarizers that are doing a great job of going out and, pulling data from multiple sources and go, here's what it looks like to me. And, I know you've been there for quite some time. I finally got there. I was slow, but
Yep.
I think now that I see more people doing this. They're tired of, getting the wrong answers here or having to dig through, however many pages or articles or videos or whatever else to get the information they really want.
Well, here's a question for you, kind of a painful question.
Uh-oh.
Could Google win you back if they put organic back at the top?
They could win part of me back, but here's the thing. If in order for Google, I'd have mixed feelings about this because in order for Google to win me back, I like the summary stuff that I'm able to do right now. It's much faster for research for me to, look at, best supplement for, knee pain or something, the best, knee brace, and have it pull all this information about you want one that does this, not that, and the old classic ones suck, and you want the new ones, and here's where to go, and blah, blah, blah. That's much better than me having to go read and stumble upon. And if Google were to put that information on top, if they had their own sort of perplexity feature, I would feel great using it as a consumer. I would feel bad using it because what it's doing to the small businesses that it's stealing that information from, and those businesses no longer get the traffic. So I might not go back to Google even if they did that.
Yeek.
So, I think they have all the data to do a better job, but
All right. Well, Holly says we're both wrong. Holly, what's your prediction?
I love it. Let's fight, Holly.
Hey, what's up, man? I have a little bit of a cough, so if I have to mute myself, that's why. I actually think that you're both kind of right, and you're both kind of wrong. So it kind of depends upon like what it is you're trying to rank, right? So if you're trying to rank something that's affiliate wise, or maybe even national wise, you're going to be going to Google to be doing searches. And you're going to be doing it likely on YouTube. If you're doing local, I think the game is entirely changed that it has been in the last 10 years. I think that as an SEO person, you should not be trying to pitch proposals based on ranking. You need to pitch based on your leads, and your leads are not going to be coming from GMBs. They're going to be coming from social platforms and forums. And it's mainly because everyone knows that the GMB reviews are faked. I mean, everyone knows you get good reviews. It's not realistic to have an HVAC company have like 300 positive reviews and no negative. It's not realistic. But what is realistic is for those people to go and get referrals off of Google, and getting referrals by using social media platforms. I'm not going to specifically say certain ones because we're using them. But like, okay, like let's just say Swarm. You could, everyone knows I'm really big on the mobile networks. You can make accounts on all of them, on Instagram, on TikTok, on ones that probably, you might not get a huge amount of volume in the beginning, but I think as 2025 goes on, it's going to be more of a trusted platform than it is with GMBs. And, you know, some of these platforms you can get maybe 2 to 4, 2 to 5 leads per week, where the GMB you're having to fight, I think, a lot more with AI, with Google updates. We've had what, 5 or 6 in the month of December. So is it that you're doing these links and whatnot? Is why the GMBs have moved up, or is it you know, run X runner and that's why it's moved down? You don't really know. But with social media, it's more of a recommendation. It's more trusted. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I just think that SEO people are going to have to pivot. And I think they're going to have to pivot a lot faster than they think.
Yeah. So what you're implying, if not saying directly, is that all of these social media platforms are going to be the default search engines now, replacing, you know, Google and other things, and they're more trusted.
It is. And I'm not saying, you know, like, I'm not saying that it's going to be one specific one. I think as a whole, you know, you need to have Snapchat, you need to have Swarm, you need to have Instagram, you need to have all of the social media platforms, you need to have accounts on all of them, and you need to be active on all of them and talking about your client. And you can still post videos and whatnot. Everyone knows that the videos are like either they're fake, or they have a Fiverr person doing it, or it's paid, right? Everyone knows that. So it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to the other platforms that people are not targeting, you're going to have a more trusted response on it.
Hmm.
Um,
So widen the net.
Yeah, that's
like super wide in the net, though. I mean, everyone has been like just giggling at me for the last 6 months over my phone network that I dug out. And there's very specific reasons. On my entire network, I'm level probably between like 4 and 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I post reviews, or if it doesn't matter if I take reviews off. If I make a post on Instagram and I say, hey, I went to this company, here's a before, here's an after, and post an app, or do a mention, or do a phone number, it's so much more trusted than doing something with like an AI video, an AI content, a GMB. So if you're doing affiliate, absolutely stay with Google and hammer the shit out of AI content, because this is the year to do it, because it's going to get tanked next year. Totally agree. But if you're doing local, you better know you got to pivot. You're going to have to use cell phones. You're going to have to make those accounts look real. You know, we've been pivoting for a year, and it's we've been doing the GMBs, we've been doing the phones. We totally can see like there's a difference. You're number one, you're not getting calls. And these are big boy keywords, and you're not getting calls. But if we go to the social platforms and we talk about your client, at least you're getting 5 calls a week. So
yeah. So I agree with you. You know, to generalize what you're saying, to me, it sounds like you're saying that the author integrity trumps what the content is. And so you need to go places and do things that make your opinion, you know, really appear human to the people who are seeing it.
yeah, like so locally I got into, you know, we just tested out locally. So I got into some Janesville like swap meets and like community things just around this area. And I just been posting and saying, hey, do you know of a good snow removal company? Do you know of a good AVAC or HVAC company? And people are posting. And then I will post some random butt ass company, and people will go and look. And then I'll, use accounts and you come back in and say, hey, this is a good company to use, whatever. But it works. Is it, I don't know if it's going to work in every niche and every city. I'm just saying, I think how we have been doing SEO for 10 years is not going to work anymore. And I don't know if it's because of AI. I think that it's more because like everyone knows that the GMB is not real and the reviews are not real. Because, if you go out and you're just like random people in the family, and I've asked, I'm like, have you read their reviews? If they're looking at something, they're like, oh, reviews are all fake. We don't even go there. Like they'll go to like, not Home Advisor, but they'll go to like Expedia and look up a hotel. And I'm like, but you don't think those are fake? And they're like, no, it's not on Google. It's not fake. So in their head, they're thinking, well, Google's fake.
Mm.
So they're gonna look everywhere else other than Google. So put your client everywhere else. It doesn't matter if it doesn't match. It might not get that much traffic, but as a whole thing and 10 platforms, you're gonna get the traffic.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that's kind of the opinion that I see like from my kids and their friends is that Google is for old people and it's full of fake spam.
Yeah. And Facebook, like I'm 50 and Facebook came out like when we were in our 30s, maybe? Like people in their 20s and 30s, they're not on Facebook. They're on Instagram and they're on TikTok. So, excuse
So
me. Yeah, so I just think trying it out. I'm not pushing any service. I'm just saying that straight up. I'm just saying try it. You get a few phones and try it for a month.
Mhm.
See what
Yeah.
happens.
RP Mag says I'm going to delete all my client GMB profiles now. Well, just keep in mind that in map search, the GMB is the thing being ranked, not
Yeah.
the web page. So
Yeah.
if you want to be in that game, it's still a cost of doing business. And the old stuff with ranking GMBs still works, but what Holly is saying is that if you're trying to get engagement for, people to click on things and to call phone numbers, that she doesn't feel that the GMB feature set is going to win that part of it, that you're going to have better traction humanizing your review on a social media platform where people think it's a person-to-person communication.
Right.
Another thing that is interesting is Google has been continually doing updates since, I swear to God, since Thursday or since November. But if YouTube has been the same thing for 5 years or probably more. It's engagement. TikTok is the same. It's engagement. Instagram is the same. Is engagement. So why would you not? If you're doing your GMB shit, that's fine. But you also need to be pivoting and doing this stuff too, because when this update happens, because it's going to, it does not, you're getting lucky if you haven't gotten hit. And don't tell me you're a good SEO person, because that's nonsense. You're gonna get hit. When you get hit, at least you have this built. So
Yeah, I've been telling e-com providers for a while now that have hired me to do audits or have come to me for help that they need to have a multi-channel strategy, and that has to include, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, so on.
right. No
Um,
one's gonna go hog crazy and just go build this like, in a month or two. You're just gonna have to start building up platforms and, it's so interesting. There are platforms that are so much more smarter than Google in the sense of like verifications. So there's one platform. It blocks proxies, it blocks SMS phone numbers, it blocks Twilio, it blocks like if I change to it knows that this phone is freaking in my house. And it knows all 50 of these phones are in my house. No matter if I leave the house or not, it knows that this house is the home base. But then you have Reddit that doesn't block proxies. Google doesn't block proxies. It's so interesting to see. Like, we think Google is so smart, but when you go on these other platforms, seriously, I've been working with this freaking platform for 3 weeks, and it is like, it's been Holly proof so far. So totally Holly proof. And it's amazing because it's like, if Google actually took that and and actually like ran with
Applied
it
it.
with like blocking proxies with CTR and signing up with what this other platform is doing, like it would be game over. I'm glad they're not, but I'm just yeah.
But
It's amazing.
for the record, we never thought Google was so smart. We thought Google was
Well, there's a lot of
negligent
people that
and
think it's
lazy.
well, yes, but I'm
So,
just saying, like, could you imagine if GMBs got blocked by proxies?
yep.
Like a proxies across the board?
Yeah,
I've
and
tried this
that's
one platform. I've tried 25 different companies. It has blocked every single proxy that I have. I'm like really good proxies and I've gotten really bad proxies. Could you imagine? People would do CTR and run CTR and sign up with, leaving reviews with proxies. People would just lose their shit.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have a prediction that I'm going to throw out there that dovetails on this particular conversation. So for a while, I've looked at LLMs, and they have limits. Everybody has their favorite LLM, and it changes based on the new models that came out or the tweaking they do on the old models, and people have their prompts and things like that. I think that where we're going to move to, because of those limitations, is AI agents. And I've been watching this develop over the past several months. And then in the fall, I went to this shitty little conference called Dark AI, where I saw Holly and some other people present some of the things they were doing with these tools. And essentially, you can use AI agents to be like little mini VAs for you, to intelligently automate beyond just the simple Zapier integration, or an IFTTT sort of thing. You can have AI agents that specialize in things like creating a script for a video, or checking your content from an SEO perspective or CRO perspective, and you can build these little things that do these little army of bots that do things. So I think that task automation is going to change a lot, not just for SEO, but in general. And I think that dovetailing with that, you're going to start to see job loss in certain industries. And you're already starting to see that with some of the, like in the movie industry and some of the video production stuff, with some of these tools that are coming out now, you don't need, 200 people to do a particular task. Now you need 10. And I think that's a shift that's going to happen as we get more efficient with these AI agents, because you're going to need, in certain industries at first, less human involvement. Like, that's going to be a big deal in 2025.
See, I agree 100% with you, Lee. I just think it's going to take several years for that to happen. I mean, I'm told, like, I think so. Right now, you go to any organization, there are, a dozen plus people in the analytics team. There's going to be one or two people, and they have their AI tools they use to do all their analysis and everything. Like, the idea of an analyst is going to slowly go away. However, I think it's going to take like 4 or 5 years to get there. But the problem is, in 5 years, everyone's going to turn on like, what the heck just happened? It's going to feel like it was overnight. It's going to take a couple of years, but it'll feel like it's overnight. I always remember there was a picture of the first Obama inauguration and then the second inauguration. And in the second one, everybody had cameras and were holding them up. In the first one, there were like maybe one or two cameras in the audience, phone cameras holding up, taking pictures. And I think that's a great example where, like, nobody realized how it was only 4 years, no one thought of it 4 years ago, but then 4 years later, it was just considered
Yeah.
like everywhere. And it was like, wait, where did all these, no one even realized that these phones suddenly appeared every place.
Yeah, I think in certain industries, like we're already seeing it in sort of the video production realm and that sort of those creative spaces, because those are where some of the first and better tools are coming out. So, you know, there's certain ones that are going to get hit first. I agree with you. Widespread, it's going to take longer.
Yeah.
But as you start to see, you know, an industry get hit and then another, and
Yeah.
people will start to question, wait, how long is it going to be before my analyst role is, you know, replaced or diminished, or what do I have to do so that, you know, I'm one of the, you know, the ones that are remaining when there is the inevitable downsizing of, you know,
Yeah.
bodies.
And I think it's already been happening because
Yeah.
Lee,
Yeah.
you've seen Tristan's AI.
Yeah.
His it's from start to finish, from start like picking the actual niche to ending to having that video uploaded. No taskers have to do that. He has no one who's doing it anymore. He has AI doing it. So it's already taking effect. It's just, is when it's going to hit the big market. I don't think it's going to be as many years as 4 to 5. I think it's probably going to be only a year before some of the big companies get put on it. But yeah, I mean, you better know, you better have a backup plan, and you better be pivoting on that.
Well, the
Is all I know.
quality of said videos needs to go up faster than the adoption of this technology.
Oh,
Mhm.
some of them
Because
are terrible. When you're talking, you totally can tell it's AI. Like
yeah,
that's the biggest problem is the mouth for sure.
and like the YouTube clickbait of people being attacked by AI sharks, and it's totally fake. Yeah, people groan right now when they encounter a lot of this content. Maybe the best and the best is different, but if you're speaking to the averages, the average AI video content is obviously AI. And
Yeah.
I think it just goes back to your original point, Holly, that it's going to be the integrity of the content providers what's going to take a hit. I'm going to want to block entire content providers because they're getting this crap pushed into my feeds. And so, yeah, I think integrity, that might be the factor of the future.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's interesting. So I've been to, some um video conferences in the last 6 months. And so 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, when AI has been out and people were just like starting to play with it, and they all were like, AI is just the worst thing to do to build the content. And 6 months later, the same people stand on stage and they're like, yeah, I'm using it now as short form, and they're doing their own long form. So again, it's always going to depend upon what your end game is. Like the AI shark to us is stupid, right? But it gets so much traffic,
Mhm.
and they're not doing it to convert. They're doing it for ads and for subscribers and for sponsors.
Yeah.
So in that very specific case, it's totally fine, right? They have AI like creepy pasta. It's these stories and 100% written by AI. Um, but the amount of traffic these things get, it's crazy. And they don't care if it's AI. Because they built that brand.
Yeah, it's
So
entertaining.
They're not
it's
trying to pass
entertaining.
they're not trying to pass it off as real, right, Holly? They're
Right, they're
they're coming right
totally
out and say
not.
this is AI, yeah. And I think
Right.
that's to Ted's point, the integrity. There are content folks I watch. I know they use AI. They say they use AI, but I don't have a problem with it because they're not trying to trick me. It's when I go to a video and it's like, wait a minute, are they trying? This isn't really a person speaking. Those are the ones that's that integrity you mentioned, Ted. I think
But
that's what's important.
yes, totally. But that intake that it's I don't know how to say it. It's moving. It's always going to depend on that person, right? You can't make everyone happy. But so let's just take OnlyFans as an example. OnlyFans, if you go to Fans Rev, they actually are now accepting AI models. Everyone knows they're AI models. The people buying the subscriptions know it's an AI model, and they're perfectly fine with it. Sex sells. So regardless if it's in person, it's a video, it's pictures, whatever. They don't care if it's AI or not. If it's something like let's interior design, you want a real person talking about what they did. You don't want an AI picture. So it's always going to depend on the clientele. It's going to depend upon what that end game is. If it's just ads, who really cares if it's AI? At that point, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing with the podcast. People are going crazy over this LM notebook, but it's the same damn voice. So if you went to 10 people's podcasts and it's the same voice, you know it's AI. But do people care?
If the
Some people do,
information
some
is
people
good, I
don't.
don't think they do, you know.
Yeah, it depends on the
Yeah.
subject. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends. There's videos, there's clearly AI videos I've watched that were funny as all heck, and I'll watch them, a million times. They never claimed it was AI. They never said it wasn't AI. But I think to your point, Holly, it's the context of the stuff too. It's not just
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
this
'cause-
person trying to
For
claim it as
for
well.
for another thing. Like if you went to Amazon, they have Amazon books, they have Amazon coloring books, they have crossword puzzles, they have whatever. Christmas just came. I had huge volume on coloring books that were made by AI. And actually they actually sold more, I think, than ones that were like actually hand drawn for whatever reason. Maybe because we sold them cheaper because they were AI built and only takes 45 minutes to build them. But people, it was so funny because they would show a picture and I was sitting in front of like, that's my coloring book that you bought on Amazon. And it was like someone in the family. And I was like, did you know it was me? And they're like, no. I'm like, it's AI. And they're like, well, we don't care. It's good pictures. So I don't think people care. I think as SEO people, we care because we know. But the person who is buying if it's good content and it's funny and it's good to watch and I'm going to click on the ad, then it's fine.
I think you're right, Al. It is intent. We've said it a lot of different ways. It's the integrity piece, because there's some people that are just shy to get on camera. So they'll record the thing that they're going to do. They'll talk about whatever it is, but they'll get this little AI avatar to get up there. And the AI avatars, especially the early ones, look like a bad, kung fu movie. I mean, the lips were moving, but not, at the same time as the words and everything else. And I didn't care if the information that I was searching for was good, because I wasn't watching the avatar any more than I would just stare at the person's face to see if their lips were in synced with the words. So if the content is good and I'm getting what I need out of it, I'm okay with it. Same thing we were talking about with, if it's AI but it's entertaining, we don't care that it's AI because we were there to be entertained, not to look for some ideal that human purity over AI trash or something along those
Right.
lines.
Why is TikTok such a big thing? Because it's entertaining in the first 3 seconds.
Mhm.
Because you're entertained. I don't care if it's fake or not. It's entertaining. So, but I'm not trying to sell you something about pest control, right? So
Mhm.
you really got to know the end game and the audience. There's so many different ways to go with it.
So Terry, you dropped an interesting prediction in the chat. To bring it up. So we're gonna say, give your prediction.
Well, it's a TikTok prediction. But first, I want to tell Holly, you missing the boat on one thing. Those social platforms are where affiliate marketing is working the best. So don't think you can't do affiliate marketing. Social media, social platforms, forums, that's where affiliate marketing is really working well. Because whether it's AI or an actual human, people think it's real people giving them advice. Now, as far as TikTok, I think This month, TikTok will disappear from the US and then come back less than a week later under the umbrella of one of the big boys. I don't think it'll be Google though, but maybe Microsoft. But I do think TikTok will end as President Biden walks away. Um, and then the new administration comes in and somebody's taken over TikTok, at least in the US. I mean, I don't think they'll take it over internationally, but you know, it's a law right now. It's got to end unless they have US oversight and ownership. And I don't think they're going to stop that until after it's gone. So I predict TikTok will leave the US, but not for long.
So
Man, everyone will lose their shit. They have like TikTok stores and then like Amazon and all that affiliate marketing for sure. The reason why like I struggle with affiliate on social media just because I can do better on Google. And I think it's one of the things that Lee said is I don't like to hear my voice and I don't like to see my face. And I'm a lazy ass. So I don't want to have to go and create a script. And yes, I know a ChatGPT can do it for me. And I used to do that with Amazon and I got my account banned. So that's why I personally don't do it. But I mean, there's people that they're just making millions on it, you know. I'm not comfortable
you
with
got
it.
one account banned or just
No, it was a lot. Yeah.
All right, just asking, just checking.
All right, Charles, did you have a big prediction?
Yeah, it kind of leaked out with what we've been discussing. I think, like I said, I think one of the things that's going to start happening this year in a few months is all the enterprise and the Google white hats will start complaining about all the AI content, and it's really going to come from we're complaining not about AI content, but we're complaining about AI content outranking us. And they'll start doing the come on Google, why is this stuff ranking? Or come on,
Yeah.
again, going right back to what they did for years about the Forbes articles ranking for affiliate stuff. Google won't take any action this year. I don't think Google will take any action this year, but I think people definitely will start to hear the chorus complaining about it.
Do you think there will be an industry space for verified human created content? Little badge, human made?
I don't think that'll happen this year. I could see that I could see something, but the problem is as more larger companies start getting into AI in the coming years, they'll want to push back on that as well.
Yeah. Like,
right now, large companies are very interested in AI. They're just doing it horribly wrong. They don't understand it. The people in charge of it, and I know this because I've been on the inside, the people in charge of it don't even understand the AI. They want to create chatbots and stuff. They don't really, a quarter of what, Hollywood talk about or Lee's seen in the conferences, they would blow their minds. Then they get very scared. There's a lot of fear in large organizations as well because everyone thinks their job is going to go away because of AI. It is, but so there's a little bit of pushback. So folks want to tell the people at the top, yeah, we're exploring AI, but they also want to kind of slow walk it because they're afraid it's going to take their job away.
Yeah. Can somebody out there go ahead and expedite the development of the AI middle manager?
Well, they already
We need that
exist.
sooner than later.
They already exist. They just don't know what they're doing.
I want the AI CEO running the place.
Yeah.
At least the places where I've got stock.
It is interesting because you're going to end up in the semantic arguments of what is AI versus human. So can I sit there and say, no, that's human created because I put the comma in the script. And so, it's had human editing. So it's human content because, I made a change to what the AI produced.
But is it 100% human, or is it no AI added?
Yeah, I told the AI what to write. You start to get into these little semantic wars about what constitutes what and whether it means anything. Because the truth of the matter is, if I'm a searcher on Google and I go find an article and it's informative. It helps me with whatever objective I've got. It answers the question, it tells me how to fix my drain or, how to rank my page or whatever. I don't care who wrote it if it's helpful. And I think that's kind of where Google has been leaning, which is why the choruses of why is this AI crap outranking us? Google has to admit that crap has infiltrated the algorithm, or that crap has a place because it's helpful and users aren't complaining about it, just content creators.
But crap has been there for years, right? Because we've been doing GSA and Xrunner and Scrapebox and spamming the living shit out of stuff.
What? You what? When did this happen?
Right? I mean, the crap has been there. The difference to me is that ChatGPT or Claude, whoever the frick you want to use, can answer a question better than I can write the question and answer the question. So I'm perfectly fine with AI being in Google and every single other platform that's out there, because if it answers my question and then that's all I don't really care who wrote it. It doesn't matter to me.
And it can answer the question faster. And then Lee can find out how to fix his drain.
Yeah.
Then Lee can go on social media and make a post about, hey, if you want to fix your drain, here's a little trick using a brick and maple syrup or whatever it is.
Whoa, you said you would reveal.
Is that little trick human because Lee said it, even though he got it from an AI article? Or is that an AI? I mean, everything we put out is a product of everything we've taken in, whether you're AI or human.
Yes.
What books you've read, what you've seen and heard. So I don't see the difference other than the speed with which AI can produce images, videos, content of any kind.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to a few questions here. All right. Let's see.
Okay.
See, Roger asks, let's see, I have a local page which dropped from number 1 to 18 last week. Should I delete and create a new page, as I fear I might have over-optimized it and been penalized, or do I treat it now as a page that is at 18? Well, the problem with over-optimization is no one has been able to test it under scientific peer review. So it's never held up. So whenever somebody says, if you use your keyword more than, 50 times, Google's going to get you, or if your keyword density is more than 4%, Google's going to get you. Anytime somebody makes a rule like that, we have always been able to find something out in search that violates the rule and is on page 1 of Google. So given that the rules never stick, we have to wonder, is over-optimization a thing? And so usually when we see a case where you go from number 1 to number 18, it's often something like link decay, your press release fell off, and if you did another press release, you'd bounce right back. It's unlikely that 17 other players all made game-changing moves all at once, and you went from number 1 to number 18 because the competition all, pulled the lever harder. Technically, it's possible, but it's unlikely. So I'd be more inclined to figure out, is this a temporary thing because Google's rolling something out? Is this just volatility, like you're bouncing from 1 to 18? Is this link decay? Did you make a change to the content or a technical change to the website that kind of lines up time-wise? So I think I'd look elsewhere first. Just jumping to over optimization and let's, uh, prune the content, prune the pages, detune the pages, disavow the links, and do the link removal requests. That's cosmetic surgery with a chainsaw, and that's the last thing you want to try.
Yeah.
I'm not saying never go there, but it's almost never the first thing you look at. What do
Yeah.
you think, Lee?
I wouldn't touch it because we were talking about this the other day in my mastermind. Right now, we're seeing a lot of very strong volatility in local, and we're seeing sites that haven't moved, bouncing around in crazy ways, like just like you would, if Google's rolling out an update or something like that. So seeing what you go from 1 to 18 or anything else may not have to do with anything that you did or didn't do. I would just sit on it and wait till things calm down and see if you stay there, if you bounce back up. I've had a couple of sites that have been, solidly number 1, number 2, and stuff like that. They bounce down to number 33, and then they're back a couple of days later, right where they were before. So, right now it's choppy as hell out there. I wouldn't touch a thing.
Any thoughts on this one, Charles?
Yeah, so when Google does all these updates, they're changing their databases. So they roll databases frontwards and backwards. So you may not have moved. Your optimization may not have changed, and your competitors may not have changed. It could have been something on the Google side. So don't have a knee-jerk reaction. One thing I would do with a move from a 1 to an 18 is check, is Google indexing you? Is Google able to crawl you? Is there some weird technical thing that has changed that may have broken something? So to Ted's point,
Yeah.
there could be some drop off with like a link decay. I always think, did something happen on your site that you didn't realize and Google can't access the page as well, or did the content change from server side to client side rendering or something weird like that?
Yeah, I want to add on to that, Charles, because we had one the other day. I was talking to somebody and I was like looking at the rank tracker, and the rank tracker just went, like this. And they checked, and the GMB had been unverified. And it's like just stupid stuff like that you got to go check and you got to go handle. That has nothing to do with optimization changes that you did. So
Let's see. Is Mueller's recent statement about URL having no impact on ranking correct? No, I would say it is visibly incorrect. Simply because when you test all the different ways that Google can rewrite a title, pulling keywords from the URL and pulling keywords from the anchor text of links to the page, and pulling keywords from the page with anchors to the page, are all options that Google has used in title rewriting. So the fact that Google is drawing from the URL for these core functions, and we've seen in the volatility tools that these types of rewrites can impact rank position, I would say it is factually incorrect. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, it was a classic double talk, because what he said, I believe, I'm paraphrasing, is Google doesn't get a great deal of information from the URL. That doesn't mean zero. And we know that that's incorrect because you can test putting a keyword in the URL and nowhere else, and the page will rank for that. So you can't say there's no information gleaned from it and then rank a page for a keyword that only appears in the URL. So I think it's they may be saying that it's less important than it used to be, or it's somewhat diminished, but it's not that it's irrelevant and doesn't matter.
I wouldn't. Here's my rule. I ignore anything Google says because we know straight up that they'll lie. They've admitted that they've lied about things, and they thought it was funny that they lied about things, and SEOs took changes based upon their lies. But I would definitely make sure you trust and read everything on developers.google.com, because that has to go through review. Lawyers are involved. they can't lie there. They may not tell you the whole truth, but they're not going to lie there. So there are places where I'll listen to Google. There's places where I'll completely ignore them.
That's a good point. Let's see. A client has 2 domains, which will become 1 domain with the site migration, but they are also changing the content management system. Better to migrate the 2 sites into 1 site, then change the CMS, or to change the CMS first, then migrate? There's a lot to unpack in that, and the reason there is for SEO, I almost always view going from multiple domains to 1 domain is a SEO mistake. So those sites can currently rank side by side for the same keywords. They can interlink. You get a base level of referring domains based on the number of sites that you have interlinking. There's a lot of great reasons to have multiple sites. Typically, when larger companies do this, and the online retailer I used to work for went from 15 domains to 1 domain. The reason they pushed really hard to do that was for ad sales. They were selling ad spots on these sites, and they wanted to combine the traffic numbers to get the biggest traffic number they can on the ad marketplace, markets. So by combining all 15, they had a much better traffic number, and that helped them sell ads. But the trade-off on that was they used to have all of page 1 and half of page 2 for 50,000 keywords going into Black Friday. They lost that. Now they have 2 links, one on page 2 and one on page 8. So very expensive costs. So you want to make sure that you look at all the costs. You want to understand why they're doing it. And it might be selling ads makes more money than organic revenue. And if that's the case, it's a good business decision, but know why you're doing it. Know how to measure success after it's done. That's the big thing. So I don't know enough about why they need to do it to really answer the question. But if you're going to do a domain migration and a CMS migration, and it's, multiple domains down to 1, there are so many pain points in that. I would say just do it all at once. You're going to extend the pain just doing it piece by piece.
I'm going to say this real quick. A lot of people know this. I stalk Charles. And, the restraining order says keep away 150 feet. I am 150 feet, 1 inch away from his house. There with the binoculars, I stalk Charles. And he does so much with migration stuff that I've watched over the past, several months, watching him with the consults and everything else that he does, and that he is a wealth of information about that. So just gonna, because he won't say this about himself, anybody that's looking for help with a migration, reach out to Charles, man. He's probably the best person I know about this particular topic and helping you through the migration pain-free. So with that, Charles, your thoughts on this particular question, because it's up your alley.
Yes, first thing I'll do is I'm going to give Lisa a quick plug. Her agency Fast Track in a couple weeks. I'll be doing a presentation on migrations. And I'll be giving away quite a bit of information, and obviously I'll be available afterwards as well. To Ted's point, yeah, if you're doing, so I've done that. I've done 2 sites into 1 site with a CMS change. I wouldn't try to multi-hop it. You do 1 migration. So if you're changing domains, changing folder structures, changing CMSs, do it all in 1 shot. However, that's going to be a lot of stuff you got to keep track of. So you need to know all your URLs on both domains. You need to know all the new URLs, even if they don't exist yet. What are they going to be? You need to have everything mapped out. So domain 1 is mapping to where, domain 2 is mapping to where, and you need to make sure this new site is well optimized because you're taking everything from these other places and mashing it all together. So you need your new site better optimized than your old stuff. You need to know for every URL on your old domains, you need to know what are we going to keep, what are we going to redirect, what are we going to kill. One thing I would say, so this kind of goes back to Ted's point where he says, hey, you know, from the very beginning, like, what's the purpose of getting rid of 2 domains and going down to 1 domain? My other question, my other challenge would often be, why do we have to change the URL structure? Often folks say we have to change. Why? Do we really have to change it? If we're changing domains, then yeah, we're changing the URL structure. But I've been told many times, oh, we have to change the URL structure. When I really started probing, like, why do we have to change the URL structure? I found out, no, we don't have to. It's just the developer, it's a lot easier for them to change the URL structure. And that's not a good reason to change the URL structure. But yeah, it's a bear. 2 domains down to 1 and changing CMSs. Do it in one shot, but make sure you are well organized.
Beautiful.
Let's see. All right. Do you think it also depends on the niche? This is related to GMB profiles and the effectiveness of them. For example, the beauty niche works better with Instagram, but not the plumber niche. Yeah, you know, having an audience that's interested in what you're offering helps a lot. But I would say there is a part of social media that would be interested. So, you know, if you can target by, you know, first time homeowners, you know, if you can target by people renting, if you could target by job title, if you can, you know, if you can target in ways that you can get in front of people who might care, then yeah, targeting definitely matters. What do you think, Holly?
It's more about the brand mentions than the targeting, right? So all you really care about is getting your brand mention and your NAP on there. So it doesn't really matter what you target, but you do have to control the narrative. So if you do it with one account, you're gonna be like, holy shit, she is so full of shit. This does not work. Yeah, it's not gonna work. You gotta have like some accounts. You gotta have some people in your corner who are gonna come in and you know, talk about how good your company is, whether it's HVAC repair or pest control. They
And
both work on Instagram. It's about a before and after picture. It's not about posting every single picture is going to be this beautiful landscaping. You got a shitty landscaping and you want a really good one. And you make that stupid line down the middle and you talk about the brand and how they were good. It's a review. It's a review with a brand mention. The biggest thing I can tell you is do not link out to that website and do not link out to that GMB. It's only brand mentions.
well, there's a tip. What do you think the likelihood that SEOs out there are going to come with the correct number of accounts to play this game is?
I think that people are gonna probably try to do it with like their technicians, right? So like it's not gonna work with their technicians because you can look up their username. You can I mean you can look up their name if you're using on like Swarm. In Facebook you can look up that they work for the company, right? It has to be a phone that's not connected to your business whatsoever. So there's you know, I mean, if you want to risk and have your technician be posting stuff, but it's not going to work like that.
So you're saying you need fake other real people.
Yeah, you do. But if you come out and you're like, I'm going to do this with 5 phones, yeah, you're going to come back and say she's full of shit. And I'll be like,
So do you offer any courses, Holly?
I don't offer courses because it's not like the whole phone thing is really hard to offer a course on because I don't know how people are going to fly to Houston with 20 phones and drive around the area several times a day and go to legitimate Starbucks and Walgreens and go and spend 10 minutes there, like just chilling out to make that phone look real and then leave some reviews and then sign up for all these apps and use these. You gotta have a real phone. So like it's not legitimate. I mean, I could sell it. I'm not going to. There's no point to because everyone's gonna be frustrated with it. So I don't sell courses on it. No.
Let's see. Question for Holly. If you could only use one, which one would you use to build backlinks at scale? SEO Neo, or the ranking store, or anything else?
You're probably never gonna believe me what I'm gonna say.
I'm going to guess X Rumor or
Yeah.
GSA.
X-Runner, do you know why?
Well, I hear that the new X Rumor is full of AI and new wizardry.
It's so scary good. But beyond that, it's because forums right now, doesn't matter what frickin' forum you have, forums right now is getting a massive boost in trust. And it's because it comes back to social media. So your backlinks that you're doing on GSA and Scrapebox comments and Neo, they're fine, but I don't think they're as trusted as a forum backlink. And another thing, you don't even have to use XRunner. Technically, all you have to do is put a subdomain with pro boards on there and run your own forum. And you're fine. It's not about, I don't think it's about the traffic or that forum being strong. I think that it's a forum brand mention that looks like a review without linking out.
That's that's as good of a nugget drop as you could ever get. So that's a pretty exact recipe to go out and test. Let's see. Let's do a few more questions here. Let's see, if GMBs are blocked by proxies, then it's time to call JP. Yeah, the best people in the business are probably going to be resilient through all the AI shenanigans and the SEO apocalypse. The people who are going to be hurt are going to be the average people in the industry. So yeah, if you're not one of the people in the know, you'll need to know one of the people in the know. Let's see. What would you recommend an SEO agency do in 2025 to thrive? I think you need to stay educated now more than any other time in SEO history. Like if you are not keeping up with new channels, new marketing techniques, new technologies, AI, you need to get educated and stay educated because this is going to be a time of change. And I don't think many people can accurately predict how much and how far things are going to change. So you need to be prepared to pivot. Google has promised, their words, not mine, that search is going to change a lot in 2025. And based on the fact that they are not fixing any old problems. That really has me thinking that they're looking to replace it rather than fix it, or some variation of that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that change is coming. What do you think, Lee?
I 100% agree with that. I think the just stupid stuff like the large language models that we use, chat gpt was great for a while, and then all of a sudden it started getting real short answers, so people switched over to claude, and that was doing great for a while, and then it started giving really short answers, but chat gpt was working well again, and then there's this gemini thing, and then there's you know just the tools that we're using now change on a weekly basis. And so keeping up to date with what are the macro changes and what are the micro changes, this tool is better than that one now. They just updated this model and it's now better at this than, than the other thing that we're using. It's getting you, better, more accurate, longer, shorter, whatever it is that you need, answers, images, etc. You have to stay up to date on this stuff. But I think, further, you need to keep your eyes on the broader trends. If you're seeing enhanced volatility in the SERPs, what does that mean? What does that look like? How do we overcome it? Staying with some of those leading edge people is a way to stay abreast and ahead of the changes so that you can ride the wave as opposed to being crushed by it.
Let's see. Eric asks, why not just sell cumulative traffic across all sites? And there's a time to do it, and there's a time not to do it. And one of the times not to do it is when you have something like organic sales versus the combined traffic across the domains for ad sales. So if you have product sales on the page and you have ad sales on a page, there is a financial situation where you might take a loss combining the traffic. So that would be the thing that you'd want to be careful of. And not all businesses are going to have that problem. There can be different incarnations of it. Let's see. Can't you just pay people with phones to do that? Yeah, you can to a certain extent. Um, but it's hard to uh get good control on that, because you can't really micromanage everybody. There's going to be some honor system in there. There's going to be some fraud in there. There's going to, it's difficult. The more people you involve in your scheme, the more difficult it is to control all aspects of that scheme.
Yeah, I think also people, we've talked about people look for the easy button, and Holly's got methods that are work, and they take work and they take time. There's rewards that come along with it, but it's certainly not, hey, I want to buy Holly's push button rank with social thing, and I'll grab me 5 phones off of eBay, and then I'm ranking and banking all over the place. It's not that kind of a setup. And so I kind of think, and Holly, you can correct me if you're wrong, one of the reasons why she's reluctant to do something like that is because nobody will go to the lengths necessary
Yeah.
to replicate her system. So Holly's course sucks because it made me work, is really what the complaint is going to be.
Yeah, like you want to drive 32 hours just to one location because they want to move the frickin' map and it's a national. No, but I'll do it because I like to take a vacation. I understand how my phones work now because I've been doing it for 4 years. And I enjoy working with phones. I'm a competitive person and I am intrigued by how things work. So I just know by looking at a property what it needs. I can't teach somebody that. And I don't want to teach somebody that because I value my name. And if it doesn't work for them, then
Yeah.
they're gonna torch my ass and then I'm gonna be all pissy about it. So like very specific with the phone stuff. I don't teach it because I just get aggravated because people are not going to do it.
Have you ever considered, and I bet you have, but have you ever considered starting a phone on Google Maps to navigate to someplace on the opposite side of the country
Yeah.
and then just doing overnight shipping?
No. So we have had a phone. So I looked up the point to point, like the farthest, and I think it was like I think it was 4 days drive, that we did on iPhones. It made it halfway and then it like shit out on me. So it was never a test that we were able to finish. But on a side note of that, I also am almost testing every day different techniques or how to make something different. So like next week, and I don't know any SEO person who's this dumb who's going to run this test, but I'm going to do it. I signed up on every single door dashing app. So DoorDash, Uber Eats, Spark, Insta, whatever. I'm going to take all my phones with me. And so like on first day, I'm going to drive to the business with 10 phones. The second day is going to be 10 plus 10. The third day, 10 plus 1 times 10. So by the end of the 5th day, we're going to have 50 phones going to some of these businesses. And I'm going to see what it does for their busy times, for their, if like it's going to want me to redirect to maybe like another business because that has a long line of people waiting to get into their driveway. I don't know. But at the same time, how it's going to react by using some of the Dasher apps. And I'm going to do it on a totally new channels to get subscribers because that's something I'm going to do. And I don't know anyone else who is going to run a stupid test like that other than me. Because I will learn so much in that week, but nobody else, they don't want to do it. So,
It
and I'm
pays to
not going to hire
test.
someone to do it because I know by looking at it and I don't know how to teach that, you know?
Holly
Okay.
likes phones better than people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like to imagine a big wooden crate being overnighted to a business with a return shipping label, and you say, just send it back and then wait 2 days.
Yeah.
You'd have like, little backup batteries inside, and all the phones are mounted with shock mounts.
Right. I mean, I've gotten really into storm chasers. And this is so funny because I love storm chasers. I spent 11 hours watching a sky drive across Kansas City as Missouri. And I'm thinking like laughing because this is the weather we're used to and all you Texans are freaking out. But the amount of knowledge that they have off that cell phone is amazing. I learned stuff by watching stuff like that. And like that's total I'm gonna totally rig up my car to do it. A storm chasing with all these phones because the phones look real. They're gonna be doing brand mentions on different platforms. I'm gonna be using apps. Like it's gonna be more stronger of a network than it is now. So I don't know. It's fun to me. That's
So
why I
Holly,
teach it. Yeah.
Honey and I live in Oklahoma. It's one of the top tornado destinations for storm chasers because we have
Yeah.
that great atmospheric conditions to produce
Yeah.
lots of them. One of the funny things is we've realized over the past 2 years that we can track exactly where the tornado is by looking at Google Maps because it's red. We have so many storm chasers
Yeah.
that will come in to do this that you will see the traffic jam and know that that's where the tornado is.
Yeah. It's I mean, I think people just overlook the power of phones. It's amazing. And like all night last night, I was like I couldn't sleep because I was thinking of all these tests that I can do on the way of doing this stupid door dashing. It's not about door dashing and the money that I'm going to make, but it's going to pay for my gas. So I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm going to be driving 8 to 10 hours and doing a ton of stuff and testing with the phones and see how it reacts. And if it's it's not like something that you fail because you're gonna learn at something. So if, you know, I don't look at it as fail because I learned. So
While you're out driving around, Holly, can you bring me a root beer and a PB&J?
you know
Awesome.
what? I haven't had a PB&J in a long time. I was looking for one last night.
Well, that looks like the end of our questions. Oh, one more here. What if you're trying to accomplish organic, not maps? Um, well, in organic, we recommend that you get data on how you're different from your higher ranking competitors, because usually in that list of differences are very solid clues on what you've been neglecting. And what we've found over the many years of SEO is that there's many, many routes to the top. Like we've all seen the massive skyscraper content with keywords throughout. I see that. I'm like, nope, 2,500 words, higher keyword density, beat it, no problem. And then Lee will come in and say, well, Ted, you neglected topical relevance. Welcome to the next level. Then Clint will come in and say nothing but schema. And then somebody else will come in with a loosely relevant page, but went nuts with PR8 backlinks. There are many, many routes to the top. And so you got to make strategy that's cost effective strategy to get there. And then you need to find out how you're different. And one of the things we've come to understand is that bad SEO is actually a lot harder to find than you think. We always tend to think that the last SEO was a bad SEO, and it's just not true. The things that everyone's generally doing are beneficial and part of the puzzle. It's just that their SEO is incomplete. And when you figure out how it's incomplete, then it's going to shoot to the moon and you'll get full credit for, the things that were being done. And so we need you, if you're trying to get organic, we need you to think of all the things you've been neglecting and stop doing that. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I think incomplete SEO is a great, is a great phrase to describe what you see. It's like, because we all have the favorite things that we like to do, and so we just tend to do more of whatever that is. If we like links, we're going to build more links. If we like on page, we're going to tweak that page, every damn day and say, why isn't it moving? What is it that I'm missing? And it may not be on the page. So, I think incomplete is a great descriptor for what I see mostly why people fail to rank.
And I'd say overall, that's what a lot of folks do. They conflate a tactic with SEO. They say, oh, I do, links from TikTok, whatever, and that's SEO. And then when that stops working, they say, well, SEO is over. It's like, well, no, that tactic doesn't work. The optimization is still a thing. As long as there's computers giving recommendations, optimization is a thing.
Hey, Ted, I wanted to mention there were some questions in the regular chat, and those are my questions, by the way.
Okay, let me take a look. All right, I have a question regarding schema and keyword density. Is it true that it has to be referenced in the indexable zone for the schema to add the density? All right, this is cutting edge SEO. This goes back to a discovery made by Terry Samuels that you could rank a page with nothing but schema. That was confirmed by Clint Butler when he repeated Terry Samuels' work. That was again confirmed by me when I repeated Clint Butler's work because I wanted to figure out how it all worked. So yes, the schema JSON LD is a no index zone. A keyword in schema all by itself will not become findable in search. But when the keyword in the schema also matches the keyword in the indexable part of the page, the visible content of the page, then that does work. Schema is a no index zone that will boost the page. And there are implications to that in that your keyword density and your topical relevancy and all your big word stuffing, it can work in the schema. You can put it all in the schema. The key is to think about the schemas that have description and text results, and I'm sure Google is scrambling right now because, you know, they scramble. But yeah, right now, schema is important, and if you've been neglecting schema, it is definitively part of the algorithm. There is just no doubt about it. So stop neglecting it. Let's see. Bold prediction. TikTok will disappear. Yeah, that's Terry's one. What are some of your favorite places to sneak content? And mine at the moment is dialogue. Well, let me make sure that's a do index zone. I'm going to go to topseotests.com. Oops, probably shouldn't have mentioned that. I think I've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the dialogue tag. Dialogue tag is a do index zone. So yeah, you can use that. Interestingly enough, template tag is not. And so it used to be, but it changed. So yeah, you want to keep in mind that Google does zoning updates and different parts of the page come in and out of play. And so keep that in mind. The interesting thing in this data is out of all of the HTML attributes, you know, uh, uh, the alt equals string or title equals string, those variable value pairs inside the HTML tags, the only one of those that can index a keyword is the image alt tag. All the rest of them are no index zones, and by themselves cannot get a keyword indexed in Google. But let me tell you about the limitation on this. On the will it boost side of things, we don't know. We haven't done the testing. We know that the script tag in relation to JSON LD is a no index zone that will boost the page. So there is a precedent that parts of the page that are not open for indexing can apply to keyword density and topical relevancy. So we don't know if all these no's are worthless or not.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great example of where we were wrong. We had made the assumption that, if we went through, if it would index in that zone, of course it'll boost. And if it didn't index in that zone, of course it wouldn't boost. And then we found data that said, hey, you're wrong. And so now there are two completely different questions and a wide open field that hasn't been tested yet. So
yeah, so yeah, complicated answer on that one. Let me see, we were looking at the chat again. And I believe the last question is, Holly, do you have any rationale on why not to link out from those social posts?
Yeah, it's mainly because, so there's a couple reasons. the biggest reason is it's a URL linking back, and if you get hit by an update, it could be because of those, because you're doing like those forum posts and those Instagram and whatever social media posts on scale. And so if you link out, it could hurt you, and it could hurt you. I don't know, but I'm not going to risk that. But it's more because when you're doing social media brand post, it looks more legitimate if the person is just like, hey, have you tried this company, McDonald's in Houston? We ordered us, something on their menu, blah blah, and leave some like keyword relevancy to it. With a brand mention, it's more real. It looks real, and it's more trusted than when you leave out a link to a URL.
Yeah, you see more links when people are responding to questions like, hey, which McDonald's, and then you might do something like that. But it looks weird if I went and left that comment and I hyperlinked the McDonald's in Houston, going back to the McDonald's franchise or whatever. Or linked out from McNuggets to the Houston McDonald's. That does look a little weird in social.
And it does look weird, like if you're using these stupid random names like bye birdie. You know what I mean? If your username is like a legitimate brand name, like Ashley, not hot baby you know what I mean? You got to have some like real usernames, real interactions. And some of the platforms, like I said, you can click on the person's name and you actually can find where that person is located. So like, obviously there's one that I did when I just signed up, and I'm in Janesville, and I posted in Houston, and I mean, I got caught on it damn quick, and people were like, why are you posting in this in Houston? It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're in
Where
Wisconsin.
you're from. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be a little bit smarter on that stuff, but like, it's mainly just because it's not trusted. It doesn't look real. And you want it to look real. So just a brand mention is what you want to do. So
And-
let me show you. Okay, let me find. I can't find that. I was gonna find you a brand mention on a platform, but that one I wanted to show you wasn't there. So who's that? I wasn't prepared to show you guys this, so I don't have one that
Oh,
is handy.
That's all right. I think people get it. They where can people find you if they have more questions later?
I mean, I'm on Facebook. And I'm on mainly on Facebook. Slack and Discord too.
Also, 527 Happy Lane, Janesville, Wisconsin.
Also
Yeah.
known as Hugs for Holly and random.
And I would like to remind everyone, since it's a new year, to go through your Google Tag Manager, your Google Analytics, your Google Search Console, and remove all the rainbow unicorn 32 at gmail.com addresses that you have no idea who they are, and take them out, because it's time to clean up that stuff again. And Lee, last question is directed to you. Are you still stuffing the alt tag?
I have never stuffed an alt tag. Now, my wife, ooh, ooh, yeah, it's still a nice zone to use.
Yeah, I believe you called it not keyword stuffing, but being descriptive,
Yeah.
being verbose.
It's being descriptive. Honey has coined that phrase for describing her particular brand of keyword stuffing. So
And FYI, that's what you want to do on Schema too, is you want to be very verbose.
yeah.
All right. With that, we'll see you next week where we will actually get to Lee's presentation. And who knows, maybe we'll do Charles's next week too, since there'll probably be time.